If you are still using copy to distribute your objects in AutoCAD, your drawing is weak. Instead, you can use array to have a control on your repetition. Let's see. Hey there, and welcome to AutoCAD 2025 series. It's an honor for me to host you in this channel, Civil Engineering with Reza. Today, our focus is learning how to work with array command. Actually, it helps you to save a lot of time during your drawing. So, if you want to be a professional in working with array command, be with me till the end. Let's go. Let's learn at first what is the usage of array. Actually, imagine that if I want to create these objects and I have access, for example, to this one object, I need to copy it, but I need to do this copy several times. Instead of that, I can distribute my objects in their copied form in specific rows, columns, and also levels. As you see, consider this as a matrix. In here, as a matrix, you have 3 rows and you have 4 columns. Each of these rows have a space with each other, and also these columns have a space with each other. The spaces are based on the center of these objects. Now I will tell one by one to make this process completely easy for you. At first, let's see how we can have access to the array commands. We can come to this modify panel, and from here, if you select on this bottom, you have access to 3 forms of array command: rectangular array, polar array, and also path array. What is the difference between them? It depends on their usage and your need. So we will talk about all of them in our tutorial. At first, if I want to, for example, call the rectangular array, I can have a left click. Now it's active. The other way is coming to this modify part, and from here I have access to array. In here I have also access to these 3 subform of this array command, which means rectangular, path array, and polar array. And the last case is typing array. As you see, enter. Here, at first I need to select my object. For example, I say this is my object. In here, as you see, in my subcommands, I have rectangular, path, and polar. So I can have access directly to my path array or rectangular array. For example, if I say array, then rec. As you see, enter. It works in a rectangular array. If I say array, and here polar in full form, I can have access to this, and if I say array path, I have access to this form. Now we learned how we can call our commands. Let's do our examples and learn the way in a practical form to see how is their usage. Now let's go to this first example. Imagine that it's a classroom and I want to create these chairs that you see here in the number of, for example, 4 columns and 3 rows. It means that in the total 12 chairs. At first, I come to this part and I call my rectangular array. As you can see, if I call this, it asks me select the object. I select my object, enter. Now I can have, as you see, the preview of my case. In here we have some different parts that it's important to have information about them. As you see, the first case, in here the type shows that it's the rectangular form. In here, as you see, we have columns. It says that you have 4 columns. I told you I want to have 4 columns and 3 rows. So it's 4 columns. If I change it to 3, it automatically, as you see, changed to 3 columns. But I say, okay, put it in 4. Now I can do another thing. For example, it's the difference between these chairs. If I say, for example, 500, enter, they are getting closer to each other. Or for example, I say I consider them as 800 and it gets like this manner. After this, I can say that no, I want to give you the total. It means that from the start part to end part, these lengths, and based on this, the number that I have, calculate the distance between them. If I say, for example, 2000, enter, as you see, it automatically calculates the distance between these columns. Now, I have talked about the columns. Let's talk about the rows. As you see here, the 1, 2, 3 is the number of rows. The distance between them is similar to column, but here the distance is from here to here. If you, for example, say that I need 500, enter, they get near to each other based on their row. And here you can tell the total. For example, I say 112, and as you see, it considers the total from this part to this part, the center of these objects, and divide that based on the numbers. Here is 2, as you see, for each gets 600. And level is about the 3D form. We don't want to talk about them right now, but in our future tutorials, we will also talk about the 3D form of the AutoCAD. But here we have some important cases. As you see, we have associative. If we have this in active form, it means that when it is finished, all of these will work as a block. It means that I can make modification later inside them. But if I unclick it, each of these objects that I have will work separately and independent of each other. Let's consider both of them to see their difference. If I say close array, when my work is finished and it's the final case, I click on the close array. Now I have these arrays. As you see, when I select one of them, all are selected and they are working like a block. Now in here I can do modifications. Imagine that, for example, the client says that I want the distances to be 500, as you see, and the numbers to be 3. It's the case. And if I did this, I say close array. But let's get back from this case. Now I want to make this array, this case, but now I unclick the associative and say OK. It's done. If I select them, you see each of them work separately and independent of each other, and I cannot do modifications on them. I also had another capability here, base points. What is the meaning of base point? It shows that where is the start of going the distance in the row and columns. Here, as you see, without clicking them, I can change this, but base point at initial is here. I can say that, okay, I want, as you see, it is here. I can say that I want to change it to this point. But mainly, the base point is the way, the place that your first object starts to distribute in row and columns. And I can say that my base point, for example, is this part that you can see. Here you can see the grips. The first in the row side. The first grip shows the distance. It means that by having a left click on this, I can manually change the distance between these array forms. If I say left click, then it is done. The last one, if you let me zoom out, you can see it clearly. The last case, the last one that I select this, I can change the numbers. Here it's not the distance between them. It means that I can make it 4, 5, and like this. Or I can decrease it, you can see. You can do the same for here. In here again, this first grip changes the distance of the columns, and this one changes the number of the columns. It means that it can increase them or decrease them. So it was all the information about the rectangular array. But now let's go to work with other forms of array commands. As you see here, my array is not in the form of row and column. I have these lines and I want to distribute, for example, my car based on this line. So here I can use another capability of array, which is path array. I can select path array, select my object. When I say enter, now I can select on the path curve that I want to work. This path curve can be in the form of polyline, line, in the form of, for example, arc, SP-line, different cases. But here is a polyline. I select this. As you see, in here, I have which case? In the case of the items, it means that the number. Totally, based on the distance that you see here, it considers that it can put 8 items here. Can I change it, for example, based on the numbers? Yeah, we can change it and you will see here. As you see, the type here is path, and we will talk about the levels later. Associative is similar to previous. If I unclick the associative, it considers each of these objects independent of each other, and from that process, they are not working with each other. I can change the base point. Here, as you see, we have tangent direction. It means that it's the tangent that you see. For example, I say the tangent is from this part to this part. It happens the same case. I can change the tangent direction in different forms. The way that we can change the number is here. As you see, it instantly is based on measure. If I select the subform, as you see, if I change it to divide, now I can say the numbers. I can say, for example, I want 6. Done. And based on the start and end point, it considers the numbers. I change it, for example, to 10. As you see, it is the case. But here I have another align item. What is the meaning of that? As you see, the objects are aligning and rotating based on their direction, the path direction. As you see, it is the 90-degree rotated, this line, and the cars also rotated. If I unclick this, all of them are in the form of initial case. And if I again select this, they have these forms. And the z direction talks about the other level that we will talk also later. Now it's done. Let's see other example. Imagine that I have this tree and I want to put this in the form of this array with the number of 5 trees. I can do this in an easy way. How? I can use again path array. I click on path array, select the object, and I say that, okay, that's done. What is the path that you want to use? I say this is my path, and the number that I want is 5. So what should I do? I don't want to change the distance between them. I want to give based on the number. I come to divide and I say the number is 5. And based on this, it automatically changes the distance between them. So let's work on our other example. As you can see here, I can say that in this manner, I want to add some chairs around this table, and they are in a circular form. So when they are in a circular form, I cannot use the path array, or I cannot use the form of row and columns. It means a rectangular array. So what can I do? I can use the polar array from here. I can select on this. I say, okay, this is my object, enter, and asks me where is the center point. Here it asks me the center point of my rotation. I say that, okay, by shift and right click, I select the center of this circle. It's the center of this circle, and I say that I want my number to be 8. Here, as you see, it fills 360 degrees. I can change it to other degrees too. For example, let's at first to 8. As you see, it increased the numbers. But I say that I want 5, but I want them totally to be in 270 degrees. As you see, it starts from here to this part. And if I say, for example, up to 180, it goes exactly in the counterclockwise. It is the base point that you see. The base point is, in the importance of base point is here. If it is here, so it starts from here, and say that, okay, 180, and it's the case that I want to change them, and I want to make this part as a gap. Now, we talked about this. Also, we can change the distance between them. For example, I can say I want them to be 50. And based on this, it needs to increase the number of the fill. It means that the total angle. Now, associative is based on the previous ones, and here I can say that it's similar to previous case. When it is active, it rotates each object based on the rotation of this circle. But when I say no, as you see, all of them are in this manner that I don't want to make this in this manner. Also, I can say that this is the direction. I can change the direction. It means that from the counterclockwise, go to clockwise based on this base point. It depends on you. I say this is okay and finished. It was the more complete tutorial on learning the array command, the rectangular array, the polar array, and also the path array. Now you are a professional in this field. If you enjoyed, subscribe to our channel and be part of our community. Push that thumb up, and also if you have any questions, write in the comments below. Thanks for watching, best wishes, take care, and goodbye.